The Dolphins almost ended the Buffalo Bills' domination of the Dolphins. For the last several years today, they barely won the Buffalo Bills 30-27 in a nail-biter of an ending. I mean, probably one of the best endings of the day, if you ask me.
Yeah, one of the better games.
Yeah, for sure. And Tua played a terrific game. The Buffalo Bills played a great game. The defense slacked up a little bit and allowed Miami to score. But it just shows you that with Tua, man, how powerful this offense can be with A-Chain and his big helmet that he likes to wear. And I was right, by the way, a couple weeks ago. That's who it was. He just looks he looks like like My Little Martian, you know? It just kind of looks,
yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. But this offense is very powerful. And it's a divisional matchup, so it's always going to be tough. So the Buffalo Bills, obviously, everybody knows Tyler Bass kicked the game-winning field goal, 61 yards. A guy who I think missed a couple of kicks today, right? And then comes in and boots. He could have made it from 70. It was a perfect kick. And
he's been kind of notoriously bad lately. And going back to last year, he's kind of been a bad kicker. So the fact that he drilled that 61 was incredible. I never expected him to make that.
Yeah, I didn't either, honestly. I fully believe that this game was going into overtime, especially when, Miami stepped up and kind of shut down the Bills when it got close to the end of that fourth quarter. But one topic I do want to touch on is the Bills defense. And I kind of want your take because I can lean a little biased because I am a Bills fan, as many of you know. Is the Bills defense good enough to be a contender? And I'm going to leave that open-ended. And you kind of just fill in the blanks of what I mean by contender, whether it's contender of Super Bowl, playoffs, the division, whatever it may be. Are they good enough to even be in contention?
That's a tough question because sometimes I think they are, sometimes I think they're not. They gave up 27 points today against the Dolphins, but we know the Dolphins are better with Tua. We understand that. I've got a graphic just to look at the Buffalo Bills defensive stats and where they rank on the league. So let's pull that up real quick. In yards a game, they're 16th in the league. Pass yards a game, they're 15th in the league. Rush yards a game, 15th in the league. Points allowed per game, they're 7th in the league, so they're only allowing 19 points a game. Here's their strong suit, though, takeaways. They have 15 takeaways this year, tied for third best in the league. The rest of the stats are mediocre. They're middle of the road, 15th, 16th. But when you watch them play, they feel better than that. I just think they don't quite have the talent. This is a team that we know consistently deals with a lot of injuries, but Sean McDermott is such a good defensive coach, he's able to overcome that, and the scheme is able to overcome that. I just kind of think McDermott is a good enough defensive coach to contend with anybody, and their offense has been getting better and better. I think over the course of the last 3 weeks, they've been top 5 in offensive yards a game. Josh Allen is a legit MVP contender. We looked at the odds before the season. Do I think the Bills' defense is good enough to be a contender? Yes, because of the way Josh Allen is playing, because of McDermott's scheme. Do I think the Bills' defense is where they want it to be? No, but as long as you're only giving up 19 points a game, because they're giving up yards, but you're only giving up 19 points a game and you're getting a lot of takeaways, you can survive like that.
Yeah, for sure. And, if you look back at week 2 when the Dolphins and the Bills first met, and I think that was the game that Tua got injured, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, you're right.
And so he threw 3 of those interceptions, Tua did. So the bulk of those 15 came from that one game. But I'll say this, that the Dolphins did step up and they played us a lot tougher than I think the Bills expected. And they did it in the Bills' home field. So kudos to the Dolphins, man. I think 2 weeks in a row that they've had a really close football game and they just couldn't do it. They almost got there. The Bills obviously have some issues to work through when it comes to defensive schemes and everything like that. I think it can, like you said, it's really young secondary. The line is pretty good. Their red zone defense is stellar. They can stop anybody when it comes to, if you're within the 20, 10-yard line, whatever, they can stop you.
I think that's why when you look at their stats, they only give up 19 points a game, but they give up a lot of yards. It's kind of like similar to Kansas City. Seriously, Kansas City lets teams get yards, but they don't let them get touchdowns. It's kind of, but that,
or they'll get a turnover in the red zone. And
exactly.
Then there you go.
And look at last week, perfect example with Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes turns the ball over, not his fault, got tipped at their own one. So then Raiders get it 1st and goal, and the Chiefs deliver a goal line stand. The Bills are kind of like that. Those are my favorite defenses, the bend but don't break defense. We'll give you yards, but when we get in the red zone, we're going to tighten up. We're not going to give up the big play. And I could be totally wrong about this. This is just off the cuff. I don't know what the stats are. It feels like the Bills don't allow a lot of explosive plays, other than the Ravens game, obviously. But besides that outlier, I feel like they don't give up a ton of explosive plays.
Yeah, and honestly, I would say that even those teams like Kansas City, like you mentioned, the Bills are playing this way too this year, they may give up the yards, may not be gash plays or anything, but they'll let you get into the red zone, but they buckle up and then they strap down and they don't let you score points. And man, that can take the gas away from your team like that. I mean, it is just a gut punch. When you get all these yards, you get down to the red zone and you can't manage to bring it home and score the touchdown. Like that hurts you more than almost, not even getting past midfield.
Right. Well, we obviously it's harder to score in the red zone. The field's condensed, that it's easier for the defense to play, and that's kind of, I think, Sean McDermott's mentality. We're okay with giving up the underneath because we will buckle down the red zone, or we'll get turnovers. We've seen they get a lot of turnovers. Last point on the Bills: when you compare, they're only giving up 19 points a game, and even though 15th, 16th in those other yards categories, when you look at their offense, they are 5th in points scored a game. So they're averaging 29 points a game offensively. In the past, we've seen the Bills kind of struggle offensively to score points, but with Joe Brady, with James Cook, even though the receiving core is not what they want it to be, they're able to put up points. So when you're averaging 30 on offense and only giving up 19, that's good. And we know the Bills are going to make the playoffs because they're going to win the division, and I think they could beat almost any team in the playoffs. Anything could happen. So 100% they can be a contender with the defense.
Yeah, Shakir also looking great. I think I saw the stat today. They popped it up on the screen that he's like one of the most targeted or the most targeted receivers in the NFL. So we're waiting for Amari Cooper to show up. Okay, as a Bills fan, we're just waiting because he was injured today and didn't play. So that was a bummer. And then last week he was pretty much non-existent as well. We hope that he is back next week and can play some good football because, man, we need him. I know it looked great today, but with Amari Cooper, I think it'll look even better.